Anyway, like I'm kind of like in a way in book one, like the kind of like on the acknowledgement part at the beginning. The acknowledgement part, I would list my English teacher names as like I'd say this book is wrote to my English teachers, and kind of like in a way that's kind of like that's what I wrote in the acknowledgement part. It's like it's just because of my devastating situation. It's like anyway, like I was saying, I think I just basically I just want to get myself to look forward to like a exhibitions or book club events where I talk about it in a crowd of people and things like that. I felt like if I were to publish the Arowra book series, I'm probably gonna have to do that. It's like so that's something that I felt that I should get ready for and look forward to and things like that. And it would also help, like in a way, I would know what's the people respond is. If they have questions they want to ask me and responses and things like that. I felt then I would know their responses and things like that. So in a way, it would also like let me know what are the readers' responses and things like that. And the audience, I think readers slash audience. So it's kind of like in a way, it's like and so pretty much I was just that's why like I was saying I was just having these brainstorms is basically is like well I don't think there's enough time. Basically like each of the scenes where I'm in the Arowra book series, like me as the novelist who is in the Arowra book series, each of those scenes it's very intense and a lot of sort of like really kind of like in a way that there's no other way, like I just have to be in those scenes. So kind of like in a way it's like, and it is really explosive, intense, and so I was planning to share a few of those scenes just so that I don't know, like, but pretty much it's like, but sort of like it's a part of the storyline and things like that. So anyway, I was just brainstorm, maybe share a few of those scenes. So like my part in the Ada book series as a novelist have very explosive scenes, we just anyway. So I think that's what also have made me in this sort of like weighted down, or like this sort of wanting to hear responses, or like is this, it seems like, what are the audience responses to this, if they think what they felt, sort of like what the reactions to what I'm saying about me being in the Arowra book series, and having it very explosive and intense scenes and things like that. And so sort of like in a way, I think that is something that I also wanted to look forward to, maybe seeing if. But again, I think it's because of my devastated situation. I wanted Arowra book series to be sort of like to help me out in a way that, maybe after the Arowra book series get published and I get some recognition, maybe my devastated situation wouldn't be so devastated. So sort of in a way, that's why I have myself in the Arowra book series, so that, so kind of in a way, because of that reason, because I wanted the Arowra book series to, to help me out in of my devastated situations. But it's sort of like in a way, it's just like I just really afraid that what if, sort of like that earlier, like that what if, sort of like. To just help me overcome the what if. I think, sort of like in a way, I have these urges in me that saying that I'm gonna take the Arowra book series to the grave with me, to just kind of just push that what ifs to the side. Like my situation is already devastated. I don't really need the what if to weight me down even more and things like that. So like. Anyway, like I'm saying, I am. God, it's like, all these flashback about the TCG and CMG back then, on 1999, and for the TCG, and 2002 for the CMG. It's like those, putting everything I got into those investment. This flashback. It's like. Could I, could I, could I, could I except, so like, could I deal with something like that again in my midlife right now, you know, like how back then, that was back in my high school, middle school and high school year, you know, maybe could have, but right now I'm in my midlife, could I deal with something like that again, you know, it's like, so anyway, alright, so I am just really, really kind of like in a lot of, because first of all, my situation is, I felt my situation already very devastated. So, and the Arowra book series is supposed to help me out my situations, but there is that what if, so kind of like in a way, so, kind of like in a way, alright, so, that's why, like, you know, I have to, wanted to find a way to transition to the exhibitions and book club and events is like that, you know, sort of like a way for me to talk about it, hear some response about it on the Arowra book series, talk about the Arowra book series, hear some response about it and things like that. So kind of just maybe some a transition into that or something like that. Like I was saying, I'm just having, I remember there was Miss Spector took us to a book tour, and I remember talking with one of the editor, and she introduced it herself, and she told me that she kind of like helped the novelist, you know, like planning the schedule and then the meetings and the events and things like that. You know, kind of like in a way, you know, I think kind of like, I, I I don't know, like I'm saying, you know, maybe if I were to work with an editor, you know, I don't know, like I was just thinking because of the book tour I was in, that's why I have that thought, maybe what if I were to work with an editor and things like that, and uh, basically I'm really having a lot of, like, really being like just, I don't know, like a lot of pressure. I think I don't know, like maybe like a lot of pressure. I think being having a lot of pressures on the Arowra book series. It's just like, I don't know, like I just wanted to maybe get to an event with a crowd of people and maybe could help me out with this pressure, or just some kind of solution to these pressure. Basically, that's what I'm trying to emphasize on. Like again, so like I felt that at this rate, like this pressure could really make me in a way that I don't know. I think it shouldn't have to be like that. I felt that it could be like how I remember my English teachers. It's like they are very sincere and thoughtful English teaching. Would want the Arowra book series to kind of like in a way, like to how I remember my English teacher and things like that. And like basically that's what I want. Like want. That's why like in the acknowledgement it was like saying I wrote this book for my English teacher, and it's like I wrote this novel for my English teacher, and it's like anyway, so okay, I have to kind of like it's already it's been a few hours already. This video has been already a few hours, and kind of want to wrap things up. Like I'm saying, maybe starting to make some kind of transitions or plan and to being at a book club, a book tour, and to talk about the Arowra book series. I think it would be so like that's how my English teacher would want it and things like that. And oh God. God. I remember at the President Award ceremony at the Catamaran Resort Hotel. So it was a President Award ceremony, and I remember everything was a shock, pretty much. The invitation letters, the hotel, the ceremony, and being there and everything. So everything was like just a shock or like a dream, and it was just so unbelievable, basically. And until the very moment, like my name is being called, I was sitting in the ceremony, basically, and my name's being called, and I walked up to the podium, and all of a sudden, as I looked to the crowd, I saw my English teacher, Mrs. Atwell, and my history teacher, Miss Raiko, and they were so, like, in a way, they were like in tears and like applauding for me, and it's like, and I just know it wasn't a dream or anything, it's like, maybe something like that's gonna repeat. Oh. Okay, it's almost run out of tape. Also run out of storage space. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly wrap it up. Alright, so basically I just wanna say that like it's gonna repeat, you know, like the Arowra book series is gonna repeat, you know. I think it's just like a dream to me and everything, and until like I see my English teacher, then I know that it is not a dream, things like that. And so like I'm saying, I think maybe the same thing might happen, you know, at the book tour or exhibitions, events, and then until I find, like, you know, I see my English teachers and